I had to buy my own equipment back, which was stolen and sold to Play It Again Sports. I had no satisfaction. I lost money. I got no help from Play It Again Sports Corporation once I had made a complaint to them about what was happening. I don't believe anything that they do is any different than what they've done for the last 2 years. If you have surfboard or golf clubs, beware that Play It Again Sports doesn't need identification to buy your equipment. Well, one day I got up for work and my van was parked next to the street in my driveway. We are the only driveway that has a street lamp over the driveways on our house. And I woke up to go to work. I was a meter reader, and I still had my surfboard on top of my van. But when I walked out to my van to go to work, my surfboard was gone. My cords that hold the surfboard to the top of the van were cut, and my surfboard was gone. My favorite surfboard was gone. And there wasn't much I could do about it except pick up the pieces and go to work. And then one day, a couple of days later, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who I surf with. I run into him periodically on the beaches. And he said, hey, another man saw your board at Play It Again Sports on the floor, ready for sale. I didn't know that you sold your board. I go, I didn't. My board was stolen. He goes, well, I think maybe you better get down there and claim it before they sell it out from underneath you. So that night, about 5 o'clock after work, I drive very fast, as fast as I could legally, to get 2 cities over at Play It Again Sports where my board was spotted so I could try to retrieve it. I tried calling the police, but there's no police department for Stewart that I could have called to come take my report. So I was forced to buy my board back. I got as much information from the clerk as I could about who bought my board, but none of the information panned out. There was a phony ID and a phony phone number, and that was that. And they didn't require any thumbprint or a license to sell equipment to Play It Again Sports. So there I was, there's my board on there. They wanted $300 for it. And I says, well, this is my board. I'm not paying you $300 for my board. They go, well, you got to pay us what we paid him for it. And I go, what was that? They go, about $95, $96. And I said, fine. I'm, an hour and a half from my house. I don't want to do this again. I don't want to come back here and then find my board gone. Give me my board. Here's the money. So I got my board back, and I went home, and then I made a police report from my own county. And the policeman came out, and he made the report. He said, you did this a little backwards. And I said, how so? I have my board back. And he said, we should have been able to go in there and get it for you, but it's in another county. There was no way that was going to happen, so I really had no choice. So he took all the information I had. I had a phony name, and I had a phony phone number, and whatever description that I got from the clerk for whoever sold it to them. And I haven't heard anything since I made my report to Christoph Consumer. And it's been a year, more than maybe 2 years now, that I haven't heard anything from my police department. So I'm pretty sure that this happens quite a bit. There's a lot of people that have surfboards stolen out of the back of their vehicles, and we share pictures on Facebook hoping that somebody will see it. And that's the best that we can do. And I report what happened to me and what I did, and I post on the Facebook so people know what I went through. So they know if their board's missing to have somebody at least look at Play It Again Sports, because they have a habit of not selling legal merchandise. My board is proof of that, and I'm sure a couple of other people have been proved too. Maybe they thought my board was going to sell fast and nobody would have noticed anything. It would have been terrible had I found this person on the beach surfing on my surfboard. I would have had to just take it from them or call the police and get it back. That would have been horrible. I don't want this to happen again to somebody. I would like to have this never to happen again. They should take a legal ID, a picture ID, a thumbprint, a bona fide telephone number that they can verify from the person who would try to sell them their equipment. If it were me, I would want them checking me out, because I wouldn't want to sell somebody else's stuff. That's just not the way to do business. I'd like them to acknowledge that it happened. It wasn't supposed to happen. They're sorry it happened, and they'll try to make it so it won't happen again. And they will change their protocol on what they do when they take in used equipment. That would be good for me and mostly for everybody else. And if I ever dealt with Play It Again Sports again, I would expect that type of service from them. And it's not very hard to perform, and it's not a lot to ask.